peace.
It is comforting to note that in the year under review, the region has remained relatively stable.
Expectations as DRC and M23 rebels sign ceasefire deal. Good evening, I'm Agnes Tuniga. You can also follow us live on our YouTube channel, TVC Online, and also get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook, and X pages at TBC Online. The Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation, Ambassador Samuel Shelukindo, says for the past 1 year, Southern Africa Development Community SADC member countries have comparatively released to a state of peace and stability, except the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, calling for concerted efforts to address the challenges. Ambassador Shelukindo made the remark during the opening of the meeting of the senior officials of the SADC organ on politics, defense, and security cooperation in Dar es Salaam.
It is comforting to note that in the year under review, the region has remained relatively stable, except for the existing security challenges in the Eastern DRC. To date, these conflicts and its complexities continue to create massive security vacuum, therefore warranting concerted regional and continental efforts to address the situation. SADC has done its fair share through deployment of SAMI DRC since 2023.
On the other hand, the director of the organ, Professor Kule Thelesane, underscores the significance of a self-reliant SADC member states.
We shouldn't forget that we have now to focus on the Southern Africa as a region, understanding that for now we are on our own. We have seen the issue of migration, how it has played out in the United States, how it has played out also in Europe, and which left us in Africa, especially the Southern Africa, as the only viable region that most migrants will come to us.
The launch of today's meeting is a precursor to the Ministerial Committee meeting of the organ MCO on politics, defense, and security cooperation, which is expected to be held on the 24th and 25th of this month in Dar es Salaam. To discuss further on the meeting, political analyst Partenos Niagira tells us the significance and relevance of it.
The idea goes back in 1960s when actually African Union or African countries were coming together to discuss the legacies of colonialism and how to liberate themselves. So they had a model, and one of the model was to go through regional blocks, regional integrations. So this was to facilitate, one, the United Nations Peace and Security Council on issues to deal with the security. And by that time, Africa was still fragile. There was no much of the strength from the colonial powers. So from there now, regional blocks started being formed. 1992, SADC came into being. And now in facilitating the aims of SADC on how we could come with economic integration and the security of the people around, we came with the organ Troika. The organ now came into existence. So it has been doing a meetings time after time with the various themes and the various actions planned. So this 27 kind of a meeting is to review the implementation of which was agreed in the ministerial committee, but at the same time on the summit of the heads of state, especially on security, peace, and politics, to ensure that they come up with a review of every day's time when they meet. And the last one, which was done in 2023 and the 2024 here in Zanzibar, they agrees on a series of actions, especially on the conflict within the region. You can talk of Congo, especially there were much of that with M23, but also with some other countries like in Mozambique, we have the area of Cabo Delgado having a lot to deal with the terrorist groups and all this. So they had to discuss a number of it.
How can it live up to its task of realizing or of establishing a way of solving African problems?
When you look at SADC, at least it has a good structure of mediation, and the mediation begins with the heads of state, and from the heads of state we have the organ troika, and the organ troika within is divided or is being combined by three members. The chair who is carrying the chair who is coming in and who is leaving from the three countries, trying to make sure that they come up with an effective way of how they can handle issues related with the security, issues on the politics, and how they can have harmonization of policies and harmonization of rules. And you know, in 2003, they had a mutual defense pact. And that's where now this meeting becomes crucial, because it is discussing the issue to deal with the prisons, corrections, and looking on the overcrowding and the infrastructure. The world is turning into digitization. How do we digitize our criminal procedures and the prison issues? So there is a number of that. Now, how can it live is to stand on the very best, we can say, the aims, the first aim of the African Union, but also of the SADC itself. Political will is very important, because these nations, they haven't left their sovereignty. These nations are still independent states. So there are some issues of which they don't actually intervene one another. So we need to have a kind of a team that comes with the understanding this bigger picture of African Union, becoming a bigger picture of African nation. So when you don't have such kind of a team with the political will and initiative, it's very hard to live to the standard, to live to the actions. But another thing is on how they should empower the youth, because by 2030 we are told Africa will be leading with the youth. The population of youth will be higher compared to other, continents. So it's very crucial to debate and see how they bring the youth together. Back then in 2000, they had established the African Youth Charter, and the nations had ratified. Even here in Tanzania, they ratified it between SICA, we can call 2011, 2012, that we needed to have youth forum where we can join the youth together, discuss any partisan issues, and propel the ideals and the idea of our forefathers. They were speaking of a great African continent, not of the great African nations, no, African continent. So this, we call you have seen it, the rising of the Gen Z in our neighboring and many others. You could see the Arab Spring in Tunisia, and all these are questions which needed to be properly looked at and see how Africa can harmonize its youth and be able to work diligently in terms of achieving its goals.
The Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, and M23 rebels have signed a ceasefire deal in Qatar and end fighting between the warring sides. The agreement, signed in Doha, Qatar, over the weekend, says both sides must refrain from attacks, hate propaganda, and any attempt to seize by force new positions on the ground. The accord commits both parties to protecting civilians while fully respecting the territorial sovereignty of the DRC. The declaration is intended as a roadmap towards a permanent settlement. The two sides agreed to implement the deal's terms by July 29th. A final peace deal is due by 18th August and must align with last month's U.S. brokered deal between DRC and Rwanda, which denies accusations it backs M23. Partenus Niagira shares his views on the ceasefire deal.
Thank you so much, Agnes Tuniga. We are joining with Partenus Niagira, who is a political analyst. And Partenus Niagira, you're mostly welcome.
Thank you so much.
As you know, the DR Congo and the M23 have signed a peace agreement in Qatar. Can you tell us How is this agreement significant towards a lasting peace in the region?
First of all, you should understand it is a follow-up from what they signed in Washington between the DRC and Rwanda. There was a clause where they needed to cease fire. And because the M23 and the other groups or actors in Congo, they were not part of it. So they had to sit again and they agree on some basic issues. And you know, M23 has several demands, and this has been its outcry that we needed to be integrated in the national army. We need our people not to be indicted or not to be charged with any offense, and many such other things. So this is very significant because if that is not answered, there is no framework and a formula for them to do that, they will not stop the fight. So they will keep fighting day after day. So significantly, it is so crucial that M23 air its demands, be debated their demands, and sign. Now the signing signifies the mutual understanding and the agreement between the two, the Congo government vis-a-vis M23, and this was the outcry of the Congo.
And Partenus, can you tell us what are the key expectations ahead of the peace agreement that is expected to be signed on the 18th, and actually in relation to the agreement that took place a few weeks ago in Washington?
They expect it to withdraw the military forces in the ground, and the agreement be integrated to the military, and the others be disarmed, demobilized, and being integrated into the society. So the DDD needed to take place. So we expect such kind of that from 18th we start now seeing a settled and a secure kind of environment within the eastern region of Congo, but also the talks between the government and them not being like a rat in the cat, but being we, the Congo, and we have agreed to do X, Y, Z. And we will see even the activities of the former Kabila Jr. He has been with a lot of talks with the leaders, with these people, to ensure that they can broker some peace. And today, when we speak of the signing of the accords and the principles of declaration of they should cease fire, it becomes so unique that we will see. What we hear on news that now we saw M23 attacking this, we see the people, we see the FADC attacking the M23. We should see it stopping. We should not see them fighting here and there. But also the Rwanda being accused of backing up M23 story will start being at a minimal lowest level. So this is what we expect. We expect a cordial relationship to begin, though yes, it may not take 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because these people who have been in fight for so long, it needs a kind of an entry point. It's like a normal relationship. When you break up or when you have misunderstandings in the relationship, it takes time to adjust your mind. It takes time to get now back to normal. So normality will have its time. So let me not have too much of expectations, but let's say we are positive and we shall see things moving.
Thank you so much, Partenus Niagira, for that amazing explanation. Back to you, Agnes Tuniga.
Thank you very much, Caroline Maleo, for that intense insight. President of Zanzibar and Chairman of Revolutionary Council, Dr. Hussein Mwinyi, has met with Miss World's Company Director, General Julia Muley, Miss World 2025 Opal Chungasri from Thailand, and Miss World Africa Hazit Amasu from Ethiopia. Speaking in Zanzibar, both parties agreed on cooperation to improve tourism in Zanzibar.
Opportunity to sincerely thank you for deciding and for accepting to come to Zanzibar. And I've been following you up since you arrived, and I've seen you've gone to different places, and I'm sure all this has promoted Zanzibar immensely. So thank you very much. But apart from tourism, we are also very appreciative of partners who want to do things on charity basis to the people of Zanzibar. There's a lot to be done, and the government cannot do everything on its own. So any partner who is interested in doing charity work, whether it is for the women or the children or particular groups like the orphans or even the disabled, is highly appreciated.
And we were dancing, we were singing, we were having such great time with all the people here. And it's amazing also to see not only the beauty of Zanzibar, but the beauty of your work that you put into this place and to your people. We visit a lot of foundation where it's very surprising, and we were really impressed by the hard work you put in the people for the better of their livelihood. And this is something that, besides the beauty, I would tell to the world also how beautiful Zanzibar is with its atmosphere and also at its heart. So thank you so much for the honor of us experiencing your beautiful home, and we wish to come back again, and we wish to tell the world that they should come and visit Zanzibar.
The meeting was also attended by Zanzibar Chief Secretary Zena Ahmad Said and Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Tourism and Heritage, Dr. Aboud Jumbe. The government of Canada has provided a grant of 92 billion Tanzanian shillings to support teacher education development in Tanzania, and an additional 47 billion shillings to improve 12 folk development colleges across the country. This was revealed in Dodoma by the Minister for Education, Science and Technology, Professor Adolf Mkenda, during a visit by Canadian's Minister of International Development, Randeep Sarai. The minister emphasized that the strong partnership between Tanzania and Canada aims to bring meaningful reforms to the education sector. Castilia Manosa has more details.
Canada's Minister of International Development, Randeep Sarai, has arrived in Tanzania for a key visit aimed at strengthening bilateral cooperation by creating economic and development opportunities for the youth.
All with the goal of helping young people develop relevant skills, access inclusive training, and find good jobs, particularly in the green and digital economies. This initiative will help more than 25,000 young people, especially marginalized girls and young women in Rwanda, Somalia, and right here in Tanzania.
On his part, Professor Adolf Mkenda, the minister responsible for education, highlights the significance of the visit.
This program will help improve student attendance and health, and is currently being implemented in 2 regions, Lindi and Mtwara. Our hope is that it will be expanded to other regions as well. We also commend the $20 million investment in the Bloom Africa project being implemented by World Vision Tanzania.
Meanwhile, various development stakeholders accompanying the visit say the 5-year project is expected to benefit 25,200 young people.
This partnership is about more than training. It is about unlocking potential and transforming opportunity into impact. Together, we are equipping young people with the skills, networks, confidence to shape their own futures and strengthen their communities.
This initiative will equip youth with the vocational and business skills they need to thrive. From fisheries and agriculture to crafts and trade, participants will not only gain practical skills, but also the financial literacy that they need to start or grow their businesses.
This visit comes at a time when the government of Canada, through Finca Canada and local partners, is implementing a 5-year project aimed at addressing youth unemployment, particularly among young women, by promoting financial inclusion and entrepreneurship. Castilia Monosa, TBC News.
It is one of Tanzania's earliest opposition parties established during the return of multi-party democracy. The Tanzanian Labour Party, TLP, was officially registered in 1993 with a mission to promote social justice and defend the rights of workers. But who founded this party and how did it gain national visibility? Our reporter Antonia Kivaria traces the political journey of TLP and the legacy of one of its most influential leaders, the late Agustino Lyatonga Mrema.
Agustino Lyatonga Mrema was a veterinarian politician, once serving as the Minister for Home Affairs and Deputy Prime Minister under the ruling party CCM. But in a dramatic turn of events, he deflected in 1995 to join the opposition party NCCR Mageuzi. That same year, he ran for president and finished second, an unpredicted outcome for an opposition candidate at the time. After internal wrangles within the NCCR, Mrema joined the Tanzania Labour Party in 1998, a relatively unknown party at that time, quietly registered 5 years earlier. With his widespread popularity and charismatic leadership, Mrema revived TLP and brought it into national spotlight. He contested in the presidency under TLP in both the 2000 and 2005 general election, raising the party's profile and securing its place in Tanzania's multi-party history. But the mid-2000s, the political momentum began to shift. Newer and more vocal opposition parties like Chadema and CUF started gaining significant support, and TLP gradually lost national influence. Nevertheless, it continued to participate in elections, especially at the parliamentary and local levels. Augustine Mrema passed away in August 21st, 2022 at the age of 77. He is remembered as the bold and passionate advocate for ordinary citizens and a key figure in shaping Tanzania's opposition politics. Today, the Tanzania Labour Party still exists as a registered political entity. The current national chairperson is Richard Limo. And ahead this year, general elections, the party has nominated Eustace Rigira, senior party official, as its president candidate. Although no longer a dominant force, TLP's founding ideas and Mrema's lasting legacy remain important chapters in the history of Tanzania's democratic evolution. Antonia Kivaria, TBC News.
On January 1st, 2021, a historic vision came to life, the African Continental Free Trade Area, after the largest free trade area in the world by number of countries, spanning 55 nations and over 1.3 billion people. It promises to redefine Africa's economic future. 4 years on, our reporter, Faith Ngaga, analyzes the progress, challenges, and what lies ahead for Africa's largest economic integration project.
The idea of a united African market dates back to the 1960s, when newly independent nations envisioned Pan-African solidarity. But it was in 2012 that the African Union formally resolved to establish the AfCFTA, aiming to boost inter-African trade and industrialization. After years of negotiations, the agreement was signed in Kigali, Rwanda in 2018, and in January 1st, 2021, trading under the AfCFTA agreement officially began. According to the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, intra-African trade currently accounts for only 15% of the continent's total trade, compared to 58% in Asia and 67% in Europe. AfCFTA seeks to change that by eliminating tariffs up to 97% of goods, simplifying customs procedures, and creating a single market for goods and services. Experts believe it could lift 30 million Africans out of extreme poverty, generate jobs, and strengthen Africa's position in global trade.
Right now, 42% of intra-African trade is made up of manufactured goods. Compare that to the international level. 52% of international trade is made up of manufactured goods. We're not doing it very badly, but the message is very clear. In order to increase intra-African trade, we need to invest in manufactured goods as a basis for the growth of intra-African trade. So, working together with the African Development Bank, the African Export-Import Bank, and ourselves, our department and the department responsible for agriculture, we are developing agro parks across Africa, so that within 3 years, Africa can be self-sufficient in food, and that is going to be traded within the African Continental Free Trade Area.
By breaking down trade barriers, AfCFTA aims to empower African entrepreneurs, strengthen regional value chains, and reduce dependence on external markets. Yet the path is not without obstacles. Weak infrastructure, non-tariff barriers like bureaucracy, and uneven industrial capacity among member states threaten to slow progress.
Within the period of 4 years, at least some things have been done, but still a number of things need to be put across. For example, political will and institutional leadership development is still a key.
Africa has already taken the bold first step. Now collaboration, innovation, and political will are key to turning this ambitious agreement into tangible benefits for every African. Faida Ngaga, TBC News, Dar es Salaam.
Before concluding the local news tonight, let's have a look at today's exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. Don't miss TBC News every weekday to know all the latest in exchange rates. And now time for sports news. Chief Executive Officer of East Africa Gospel Music Award, Margaret Chacha, says the awards will be used to promote Tanzania tourist attractions and gospel music at international levels. Speaking after received East Africa Gospel Music Award at Marangu, Chacha added that the aim of sending the award to the summit of Mountain Kilimanjaro was to promote tourism and gospel music to international levels, while the Moshi District Administration Officer Teresia Mbaga says the award has been the catalyst to collect income from the tourists in the region.
When we were sending this award to the summit, we prayed to God, asking for our gospel musicians and gospel music to be recognized internationally. The East Africa Music Award was introduced at the summit to shine a light on African talent and uplift the entire continent. As the government, we are proud to see the award taken to the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro, since it represents all 8 East African countries.
Ina contain nchi 8 za East Africa.
The Gospel Music Awards in East Africa started in Dar es Salaam, and the awards were given out on June 28th this year, while preparations for the 2025-2026 awards have already begun. And with that item of sports news, that's all we have for tonight. Don't miss our next bulletin in Kiswahili at 11 p.m. On behalf of the rest of the crew, I'm Agnes Tuniga, and thank you very much for being with us, and good night.
Nimekuja